Hey everyone, so welcome to Some Things Revcycle. So today's video, I just want to talk about how I even ended up getting into this industry. I definitely had no clue what RCM was until I got into it. So in college, I was working retail, and I was super tired of retail. If you work retail, you know it's exhausting, especially when you are kind of an introverted person. It does get exhausting fast. So I had a coworker who was leaving the retail store for an admin position at a hospital. At a hospital. And she had kind of took like another manager with her as well. And after I got done with school, I asked her could she put in a good word for me, and she did. And so I ended up getting a job as a patient service specialist. Unfortunately, it was call center based, and call center is like a step up from retail. They're both equally as draining, but the pay was a little bit better. And I tried to stay there as long as I could. I won't sugarcoat it. It was a difficult transition for me from being in school, only having to work part-time, and then having undiagnosed ADD. It was rough. But I'm thankful for the experience because it really did open up doors that I didn't even know I was capable of walking through. So a patient service specialist, or PSS, your job duties, it really depends on, it really depends on the needs of the business. Like for me, like I said, mine was call center based, and it was mainly inbound calls. It was patients calling for a specialty clinic to make appointments. If they were new patients, then I would make their profile. Of course, you get their name, date of birth, the sex, insurance, all of that good stuff, just collecting patient demographics, letting them know what their copay is, letting them know what time the appointment is, who the appointment's with, what time to be there, all those other things. Whereas there's also another part of PSS, like if you've ever been to the ER and the person that comes in kind of after you've been seen by the doctor, they come in to collect the insurance information, collect signatures, same position. So it really depends on where you end up, what your duties will be. But yeah, that was my beginning to RCM. That's like at the beginning of RCM. So I stayed there for as long as I could, which unfortunately it wasn't that long. I think I ended up staying there for about 6 months, burnt out, and put in my 2 weeks notice. Ended up going back to the same company, but a different department. So with that company, I believe, I don't know what it is now, but back then you had to have a 6-month waiting period before you could reapply. So I went back to that company, but through a temp agency, and this time it would be for their claims department. Now I knew nothing about claims before this. I was just like, okay, I need a job. And yes, I had internships, but the internships didn't pay anything for what I went to school for. And so, we're back to square one. So anyways, I applied to the temp agency. They told me they had this position. They saw I had worked there before, basically. And they were like, well, do you want us to submit you for this position? I was like, sure. So the temp agencies, they usually have job boards where they have the description, or they'll send you like a Word document with the overview or whatever. So they sent me that, and I looked over it, and then I started researching. I always thought that you had to have some kind of certifications, like for medical billing and coding. And for some positions you do. For this one, I didn't. But still knew nothing about being a claims examiner. And this was before TikTok. So I got on Google. I watched a few YouTube videos. It really wasn't that many YouTube videos back then on exactly what a medical claims examiner was and the duties and stuff like that. So thankfully I had the overview and I had Google, and the overview was like, you're supposed to be familiar with NPIs, tax ID numbers, the difference in claim forms and stuff like that. So again, didn't know any of that. I just Googled it, researched it, just kind of, waiting to see if I was really gonna get an interview or not. And so the temp agency called back maybe like 3 days later and said that they wanted to interview me. So then I really started just trying to memorize and practice stuff, like giving myself mock interviews. Like, it's really funny to look back on it. But I went in there super nervous. I just wasn't sure what to expect. Luckily though, the overview sheet that they gave me, it really did help me to research. And sure enough, they did ask me, do you know what an NPI is? Can you tell me the difference between a CMS 1500 and a UB04? Can you tell me a few places of service? Can you tell me what, and back then it was ICD 9. So yeah, this is like way back before we even had the change to ICD 10. And so they ended up liking me. They hired about 5 other girls, and that's how I got that position. So I did not have any experience as an examiner. And I feel like unless maybe you are a CNA or maybe a phlebotomist, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. Those positions also have transferable skills into being a claims examiner, but I had none of those. I literally just had, I knew the system. I knew the system because I had just worked for the company not that long ago, and they used Epic. So I knew Epic, but it was a different degree. Like, I just knew how to find the patients, and that helps if you have experience with Epic, I think it's Meditech, Cerner, those type of things. Those really do help. But like I said, if you have no experience whatsoever, using a temp agency is really going to be your way into that industry. I think it's just so much easier just to get that experience, even if it is just a temp job. Like right now, I'm just doing something on the side. I treat these jobs as a stepping stone, and I always tell people, like, they'll ask me, do you have to have this, do you have to have that? And that's one of the reasons why I started the channel. It's mainly for moms, like, sis, no, you don't have to be educated, you don't have to have all these degrees. Like, if you have some experience, great, but they're gonna train you. So you don't have to worry about all that. Now, you do need to be a little bit tech savvy. Like, you do need to know how to operate Microsoft Teams, okay? You need to know how to use Microsoft Excel. You don't have to be an expert. I'm not an expert, but you need to know how to open it. You need to know how to navigate it just a little bit. You don't have to be an expert, but there are some things you just need a little bit, just a pinch. It doesn't have to be, expert level. But I really wanted to just create like a mini ebook of every position that I've had in RCM and just jam pack it with stuff. When I was looking for research for these jobs, I just compiled it into a quick ebook. So if you're going to be a PSS, if you want to be an account resolution biller, if you want to be a medical claims examiner, I've got some notes in there for you guys. It doesn't have to be hard. And I want everybody to win, especially with these jobs. A lot of them are remote. Some of them are hybrid. Some of them are in office. It just depends on how you feel and what you want to do. I'm a mom with a child who has some medical needs, so it's in my best interest to work a remote job. And I'm so thankful that I have this extra skill. Like, yes, I went to school. Yeah, sometimes I use that degree. I mean, honestly, it's come full circle for me because I'm able to do both. And that's a blessing, but I want women to be able to just always have another transferable skill. And I really feel like working in RCM, I think that allows you more freedom if you want to build a career in this. If you want to be a team lead, then, you know, supervisor, manager, CBO director, whatever, I think it's very easy to move up in these companies if that is something that you want to do. And when I tell people like how I got into it, they're like, that's it. And I'm like, sis, it's so easy. So I did create an ebook that it has all this information in there, and I want you all to use me as a resource, whether you want to reach out to me to do a mock interview, whether you need me to tailor your resume. I actually have a resume template inside that guide, but it's so easy. It's just a lot easier. Like, if you're tired of call center work, if you're tired of being on your feet and you're looking to transition into a different career, let me help you out, sis. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars for some courses. Like, I promise you, I have seen some of these courses and I'm just like, but why so much though? And maybe I'm just looking at it as I have a soft spot for moms, especially moms that have tiny kids and you can't be in the office and daycare is expensive. Like, I want you all to use me as a resource that I didn't have. Because I specifically remember before everything was remote, I had to go into the office during COVID, and it was hard because, like I said, I had a baby with some health issues, and this was before I figured out how to get him a nurse. And that's a whole story for another different day. I'll tell you all about how to navigate NICU after you have your baby that's going to have these needs, that's going to have a nurse, that's going to have medical equipment at the house. Like, I'm going to tell you all how to navigate all of that. But to say all of that to say, I'm very blessed to have this go to fall back on. And so, ladies, treat these jobs as stepping stones. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay in RCM, you know, but it definitely opens you up to doors. Like I said, I didn't even know that these type of jobs existed because I had no interest in healthcare. When I thought of healthcare, I literally only thought about CNA, nursing, doctors, nurse practitioners. I never thought about this side of it. And so, like I said, here, I'm going to be posting the jobs that I've had. Now, I can only speak from the jobs that I've had, and those are the only jobs that I'm going to post and give advice about. I don't know what it's like to be a pharmacy tech, you know. Yeah, I've worked in a pharmacy as a clerk, but I can't give you information on how to get a job as a tech, you know. So I appreciate you all that stayed till the end of the video. I'm going to go ahead and get these jobs posted.